Okay, before we even start this story, I don't want you to just listen. I want you to actually picture this in your head, like you're there. So just imagine this with me for a second. It's late at night, not just late, like the deep night time when almost everyone is already asleep. The kind of silence where even the smallest sounds feels loud. No traffic, no people talking, no moments in the corridors, just stillness. Now imagine a tall apartment building, floor after floor, all dark except maybe one or two windows with faint light coming out, and somewhere in the building on the ninth floor there are three sisters, all awake at a time when they should probably be asleep. Now here's the thing. If you were in that building, you were maybe their neighbor or someone living just one floor below, you wouldn't think like anything is wrong, right? Because nothing looks wrong. Like there's no shouting, no argument, no noise that makes you stop and think like, wait, something is off. Like everything feels normal, calm, almost too calm. But what happened in the next few moments completely shattered that silence. And the scariest part is no one saw it coming, not even a single person. Now, let's move forward a few hours, okay? It's morning, the same building, the same place, but something feels different. People are waking up, starting their day, maybe getting ready for work, some going to school, some making breakfast, just a normal morning, but very quickly the normal morning turns into something else, like something no one was ready for, because suddenly news starts spreading fast from one person to another, then another, and within minutes everyone is talking about the same thing. Three girls, three sisters gone, just like that. And when I say gone, I don't mean they left, I mean they're not coming back. And that's when confusion hits. Because people are trying to understand what just happened, how and why, because this isn't something you hear every day. This isn't a small incident. This is something that shakes people, not just the family but everyone around them, because when something like this happens, it doesn't just stay in one house, it spreads into the entire community, and suddenly everyone feels uncomfortable. Everyone feels a little scared, because if something like this can happen here in a normal building, in a normal family, then it can happen anywhere. And the thought is that's what disturbs people the most. Now, before we jump into conclusions, before we start blaming anything, we need to slow down, because this part is where most people get it wrong. They rush, they assume, they simplify, but stories like this are never simple. So let's take a step back and talk about them. Who were these sisters, and not just what happened to them, but who they actually were. Because at the end of the day, they weren't just a case, they were real people, real lives, and real emotions. From what people around them described, they weren't very outgoing, they didn't socialize much. They mostly stayed within their own space, their own world, not at first. That might not sound unusual, right? But because a lot of people are especially teenagers, they like privacy, they like being alone, and they like doing their own thing. But over time, in their case, it started becoming something more, because slowly their world started shifting. Not suddenly, not overnight, but little by little, day by day, their routine started changing. And the center of that routine was one thing: their phones. Now I want you to really think about this, not just using a phone, but depending on it emotionally, mentally, almost completely. Imagine waking up and the first thing you reach for is your phone. Not even fully awake yet, but already scrolling. Then hours pass without you even realizing it. You're watching videos, listening to music, jumping from one thing to another, and suddenly half your day is gone. And in between all that, real life is still happening. Like people are talking around you, things are going on, but you're not really there. You're physically present, but mentally you're somewhere else. Now this is where things get complicated, because this is the part where people started forming opinions, very strong opinions. Some people immediately said it's because of K-pop, like others said they were too obsessed with Korean content, and once that idea started spreading, it spread like everywhere very fast. But here's the problem with that: it's too easy, it's too simple, and real life is almost never that simple in real life, okay? Because think about it, millions of people watch the same content, listen to the same music, follow the same culture, and they're completely fine. Like they go to school, they live their lives, they balance things. So then the question becomes, why them? What made their situation different? And this is where I want you to really think, like not just listen, because this is story not just about them, it's about something much bigger, something that's quietly happening in so many places right now. What happens when your online world starts feeling more comfortable than your real life? What happens when the place you escape to becomes the only place where you feel okay? And more importantly, what happens when the escape is suddenly taken away? Right? Because in this story, that exact moment does happen, and when it does, everything changes, not slowly, not gradually, but all at once. And that's where things started getting really disturbing. So let's go back into their daily life again, like because from the outside nothing looked extreme. Like there was no big warning sign, no single moment where people could say, yes, this is where everything went wrong. Like it doesn't happen like that. It was slow, very slow, almost invisible. Like day after day, their routine become more and more the same. Like wake up, phone, sit alone, phone, eat, phone, late night, still phone. And the scary part is when something repeats like this every day, it starts feeling normal. Like even if it's not. Even if it's not normal, it feels like normal, because your brain adapts, it adjusts, it stops questioning it. Now this is where things start going deeper, because it's not just about using a phone anymore, it becomes emotional. And this part is very important to understand. Like when you spend that much time online, you don't just consume content, you start living through it. You start feeling connected to people you have never met, to stories that aren't yours, to a world that exists only on a screen. And slowly, without even realizing it, your emotions start depending on it. Like if you feel sad, you go there. If you feel bored, you go there. And if you feel lonely, you go there. And over time, that space becomes your comfort zone. So now think about this. If your comfort zone, your happiness, your escape is all inside one place, what happens when that place disappears? Because at that same time, something else is happening. Like something people don't notice easily. Real life starts fading, not completely but slowly. Things that used to matter don't feel the same anymore. Like conversations feel tiring, going outside feels unnecessary, even simple daily routines start feeling like effort. And instead of dealing with that, it's easier to go back to the screen, because there everything feels controlled. Like no pressure, no expectations, no discomfort. And this is where another layer comes in: family. Because while all of this is happening, there are people around you, like parents, siblings, household. But here's the problem: they don't always see what you are feeling. They see behavior, not emotions. They see you're always on your phone, you don't talk too much, you're isolating yourself, but they don't see why. And that creates a gap, like a silent gap. On one side you feel misunderstood, and on the another side they feel concerned, and both sides don't fully understand each other. And when that gap keeps growing, tension starts building. Not loud tension, but quiet tension, like no big fights, no dramatic scenes, just small moments. Comments like, put your phone down, why are you always like this? Do something productive. And maybe from this side, from their side, it comes from concern, but from the other side, it doesn't always feel like that. It can feel like pressure, like being controlled, like losing the only thing that makes you feel okay. And this is where the story starts moving toward a breaking point. Because up till now, everything we talked about was building quietly. Routine, dependency, disconnection, emotional reliance, all of it slowly stacking up. And then something changes. At some point, their phone usage was restricted. Now, on the surface, this might sound like a normal decision, right? Like parents limiting phone time, trying to create balance, trying to help. That's something many families do. Here's where the situation becomes different, because for someone whose entire emotional world is connected to that device, taking it away doesn't feel small. It doesn't feel like a rule. It feels like loss. And when that happens, there's something like internal that shifts, like confusion, like frustration and emptiness, because suddenly you don't have the thing you rely on. And at the same time, you don't feel fully connected to real life either, so you're stuck in between, and that space can feel very uncomfortable. And this is the part where people often misunderstand the situation. They think it's just a phone, it's just content, it's not a big deal. But for someone in that state, it's not just anything, it's their routine, their escape, their emotional support. And when all of that is suddenly disrupted, the impact can be much bigger than it looks. So now we're at a point in the story where everything has built up: the dependency, the disconnection, the emotional gap, and then the one thing holding it all together is suddenly taken away. What happens next is what turned this situation into something no one expected. And this next part is where things get even more serious. Okay, so now before we go into what happened next, we need to slow down again and look at the days before everything changed, because nothing like this happens suddenly, right? There are always signs, patterns, small changes that build up quietly. From what has been reported, the three sisters had already started living very different from like others around them. Like they weren't attending school regularly, they were spending most of their time inside their home, inside their room, and almost all of that time was going into their phones, not just casually using it, but spending long hours, deeply engaged, almost completely absorbed. Okay, and here's something that makes this case even more complex and honestly a little unsettling. They weren't going through this alone, like all three of them were in together. They shared the same space, the same routine, the same digital world. Like think about that for a second. Usually when someone is struggling, there's at least one person around them like who is slightly different, like someone who questions things, like someone who pulls them back. But here, all three were moving in the same direction. No interruption, no external balance, just one shared environment, getting deeper and deeper. And then after everything happened, something was found. A note. Not a short message, not just few lines, but multiple pages, written carefully in detail. And this is the part that made people pause, because when investigators and people who read it look at those pages, it doesn't feel rushed, it doesn't feel chaotic, it feels structured, calm. And that's what made it even more disturbing, because usually when people think of situations like this, they imagine panic, fear, confusion, but here it felt like something that had been thought about for a long time. And as for more information started coming out, people began connecting small details, like how they had been spending most of their time online, how they were not interacting much with the outside world, how their daily routine had become very different, and slowly a picture started forming. But still, this it wasn't complete, because even with all that information, one question still remained: why together? Because that's the part that doesn't leave your mind. Like, one person making a decision is something people try to understand, but three at the same time, that means something else was happening. Like, something shared, something reinforced, something that grew stronger because they were together. And this is where it becomes less about one individual and more about a close environment, where thoughts were repeated, feelings were shared, and slowly they become stronger. Now at this point, their father spoke about the situation. Like, he mentioned that girls were very involved in online content, including Korean entertainment. And like many parents, he was concerned. Like, he wanted to reduce their screen time. He wanted them to focus more on real life. And from his perspective, this was the right thing to do. Like, but here's where we need to pause and really think. Because this is not about blaming anyone, not the parents, not the content, not a single thing. Situations like these are usually a mix of many factors. But still, there was one moment that stands out: the restriction. The moment when access to their phone was reduced. Now again, for most people this might feel like a small change, but in their situation it wasn't small. It was sudden, and it affected something much deeper. Their daily structure, their emotional comfort, their sense of control. Okay, because imagine this: you have built your entire routine around something day after day, month after month, and then suddenly it's no longer there. Like, their father take their phone. So you don't just lose time, you lose stability. And if at the same time you doesn't feel connected to anything else, like when they took your phone, you don't know how to deal with the world near you. Like, you don't know how to speak to the parents, how to go to outside, and how to play, because you have been playing with your phone all day. And since the phone is taken away, you can't do anything, and you are just stuck there. You are just sitting there and doing nothing. Okay, that space can feel very overwhelming. And now everything we have talked about so far, the isolation, the shared environment, the dependency, the sudden restriction, all of it is now at its peak. Everything has built up, and there's no release, no outlet, no balance, no interruption. And this is the point in the story where everything becomes very serious, because after all of this build up, what happened next was not random. It was a result of everything that came before it. And the most unsettling part is, there was no loud warning, no dramatic moment, just quiet decision that changed everything. Okay, so let's ground this in reality for a second, because up till now we have been talking about the build up, the emotions, the environment, but when exactly did all this happen? This incident took place in early 2026, in a residential area in Ghaziabad, a place that until then was just like an ordinary neighborhood, nothing unusual, nothing extreme. But after that one day, people there started looking at everything differently, because suddenly the building wasn't just a building anymore. It became a place tied to a question like, how did this happen, without anyone realizing it. Now let's talk about the family, because this is where things get more real and also more complicated. Their father, in his statements, described the girls as deeply involved in their phones. He mentioned that they would spend long hours watching content, especially Korean shows, music, and related media. And like many parents, he was worried. He reportedly tried to set limits, reduce their screen time, and bring them back into more regular routine. And honestly, if you think about it, a lot of parents would do the same thing, right? They see their children spending too much time on phones, they get concerned, and they try to control it. But Here's the part that makes this situation different. According to reports, the girls were spending an unusually large amount of time on their devices. Like not just few hours, but most of their day. Like sometimes staying up late into the night and continuing it again the next morning, like because like they think that their father will see they are using their phone in the day, so they were using it silently and in the night, and they were not sleeping at all. They were using the phone the whole night. And over time this kind of routine starts affecting everything else, like sleep patterns changes, daily structure disappears, and slowly they start blending into each other. One detail that stood out in this case was their connection to school. There were indications that they were not attending regularly, or at least not engaging with it the way they used to. And this is important because school is not just about studies, it's structure, it's social interaction, it exposures to the outside world. And when it starts reducing, your role becomes smaller, more close, and more limited. And they are saying that they didn't even attend school at all, and the three sisters were just living in the apartment, and they didn't even come out. They were just using only one phone. I guess they were only using the one phone. The three sisters were using only that devices, and at some point the father hired a tutor to like to teach the girls, but the tutor said that they can't just like she can't just like she can't even teach them the basic things like 1 plus 1 is 2, like because they had not been attending school for a very long time. So she just dropped out and she said that I cannot do this anymore, and she just give back the money and gone. Okay, like this is very strange, right? And yeah, and another thing people's later question was why no one stepped in earlier. Like, but the reality is situations like this are not always obvious. Like there's no alarm, no clear signal, no moment where everything suddenly looks serious. It's gradual, and when something changes gradually, people around you also adjust gradually. They think like yeah, they're changing, but it's slowly, and it's just normal. So what might look concerning from the outside later didn't feel urgent at the time. Okay, so like now let's come back to the note again, because like this is one of the most talked about parts of the case. It wasn't just that a note existed, it was how it was written. Reports suggested that it was detailed, it was structured, and not written in a moment of panic, and that raised questions, like because it suggested something more than an impulsive decision. It suggested planning, time, thought, and that's what made people uncomfortable. And again we come back to the same question, like three people together, because when individuals are in close environment and they say the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same routine, those thoughts don't get challenged, they get reinforced. And over time what might have started as a small idea can feel bigger, stronger, and more real. But while all this was happening outside, people were forming their own conclusions. Some focused only on the Korean content angle. They were just saying that they watch too much K-drama, they watch too much K-pop, and they were acting like K-pop and all, and they were dressing like that. And when their father take the phone, they were so frustrated. How could they do this to us? And the father was forcing them to act like those like Indian celebrities, Indian style, Indian dressing, but they were just saying that they want Korean. And the reporters said that they were like Korean. And like the Twitter the father asked the tutor like, and she was saying that they were Korean, and they have these things like they were trying to imitate how the Koreans speak, how they dresses and all, and they click photos and all like that. And some blame phone addiction completely, like some blame the Korean content angle, and some blame the phone addiction completely, and some reduce the entire situation to just one reason. Like, but real cases like these doesn't work like that. They are layered, like layer by layer. They involve environment, mental state, routine, relationships, not just one thing. Like, not just like they watch too much K-pop, or like they watch too much K-pop, that's why they were like they just jump from the ninth floor because they watch too much K-pop. It doesn't feel like that. And some things we don't even and sometimes things we don't even fully understand, because this is so complicated. Like, they were basically like isolated from this society, and they were just like using their phone only for source of information and source of entertainment, and that become their world. And when that suddenly took away, they feel like nothing. They feel like it is the end of the world, maybe, or maybe not. And that's what people are saying. Like, they watch too much K-pop, and when the father tried to like take away the phone, they were so frustrated. So now we have the timeline, the routine, the environment, and the turning point, but still there's one thing left: what was actually going on inside the minds, because that is where the real story is. And you know what, in the interviews the father was saying that they were playing some kind of game, like in when we were in like 2019, I guess, there was a game that called blue whale or blue shark, I don't really remember. There was some kind of like task based game, like you have to do this, you have to do some like challenge, like every day there was some challenge. You have to watch a scary movie, you have to like you have to jump from the first floor, like very scary, right? And at the end they were obviously asking for their lives. So the father was saying they were playing some kind of game that is like that the tax based game. So but in the interviews the father didn't really like say the name of the game. He was just accusing that like, yeah, they were playing games, and I don't even know what kind of game they were playing and all. And like, let's say they were playing the games, then what kind of game they were playing? We can like actually trace the data in their phone, right? But we cannot find it. The police doesn't say that there were any games that they were playing. So the father was only saying that. And when the three girls were like jumping from the ninth floor, there was a neighbor that was like seeing, and he was like, the first girl just jumped, and the two other girls were jumping in, trying to like, trying to help and trying to stop the incident. Like, they were trying to help their sister, like from jumping. Like, they not helping, they were trying to stop their sister. And in the moment they also fell, and that's what the witnesses said that in the interview. But I don't know how much it is correct or not. And about the game, it was very like, it's very, what we can say is like, if it was the game, and then what kind of game was that? It should be like very, like scary for all those teenagers, because if there is such a game, we should all be really concerned about it. Because if a game can lead to this, and that it is very scary, right? And the father was saying they were like watching too much Korean thing, and they were saying like, we have to ban Korea in India, like like it's not because they were just watching the Korea, and but that's the reason they did that unthinkable. It's not like that, right? Even me myself also, I watch Korean dramas, Korean entertainment, because it's very popular, right? And everyone in the Northeast, or everyone in mainland India also they always watch it. But like it's not the case. One Someone is watching Korean entertainment, it doesn't mean that when they doesn't have the access they have to do that. It's far more deeper. And they were very isolated from the school, and like they didn't even go to school. A reporter said that, and they were just like stuck to their phones, and they were watching it, anything. They even the father said that they had built a YouTube account on like the contents were like Korean and all, and the father said that delete the account, so they delete it. So like the father was trying everything to like to like reduce their screen time, and to like you know to like to make them watch the Indian movies and Indian cinemas and all like that. So the thing is, if it was a game and if it was a Korean content, why would they do that? In the note they left, there was a ad-based note, and it was not made public, but the ratings were like, the reporters were saying that how dare you take the only thing that is our life from us, like we will now show you how much we love Korea. By what? By doing the unsettling, unthinkable. Like at that night, when when the incident happened, the father took the phone. Okay, so like it was kind of like the end of their world. Like they were only the phone was only their escaping and comfort zone, and that thing was even like taken away from them. So maybe they were thinking like something, I don't know, like this was very unsettling, and we don't really know the reason why three of them like they will do the same thing from the ninth floor. It's very unsettling, and we don't actually know the real reason. Like maybe like we can say like this, like they watch too much K-drama, they want to look like Korean, so they went to surgery, and surgery was failed, and so they end up like giving their lives. That was related to Korea, but the situation is different, right? But not like they watch too much K-drama, they watch too much Korean, so they did the unthinkable. That's not going to be the case. So like if it was a game, it was the tax based game, so it maybe they were doing some tax. But if it was the tax based game, there should be some like some examples, like it doesn't, the task based game like from the internet and from the resources, it was like it doesn't suddenly give you the task to just jump from the ninth floor. Like it slowly it gives like first day you just watch the horror movie, and second day you did something more like scarier. And so if they were doing like that, there should be some signs in the apartment, right? And there were no signs until they jumped from the ninth floor. So it was very confusing also, and the police were like, there was no game, and there was no kind of like no kind of like evidence in their phone that can lead to like they were playing this kind of game. So there was nothing like that, and that's very scary part. And for the Korean content, even like most of the, you can say, Northeast people, they watch good K-drama, they watch Koreans like K-pop and all, but this case is very different, right? It's not that most of the people who are watching K-drama, they have to do this when they didn't get the access to watch those things, right? So this is very unsettling, and I don't know what led this incident, what makes those girls think like they have to end their lives and they have to do the unthinkable. It's very scary. So like, here's the truth. The most important part of the story was never visible. It wasn't something neighbors could see, it wasn't something written clearly, it was internal. And internal struggles are the hardest to notice. Maybe they were having some kind of struggles, and maybe they were having some kind of mental, some kind of shared kind of psychosis, or maybe I don't really know, but that's very difficult to identify and difficult to see from the outside. When someone spends a lot of time online, and it's not always just entertainment, sometimes it's escape. They were trying to escape from the reality. They feel like there's nothing going on in their real life, and they would just want to be like in the digital life, and that's their whole world. And escaping from boredom, from pressure, from emotions they don't really like fully understand. Maybe you like some maybe their father or their mother is called them, and they feel so like, frustrated, and they just can't really process the emotion, so they were like, let's just watch something and let's just forget all of that. So they didn't really process the emotions and all, so that becomes their escape point, right? And the more they use it the way, the more they dependent on it. They try to depend on it again and again, and slowly balance disappears. Like, it should be balanced, right? You can just use phone all the day. Like, we are using the phone, we were just scrolling Instagram, we were watching YouTube and all, but it shouldn't be like your whole world. You are living in a real life, so it should be like you should be connected to the real life. Okay, so like this becomes like real life feels harder. Like, they can't really like stay in real life. It becomes very hard, it becomes very challenging, and online life feels easier. Like, they can like watch whatever they want, whatever they like to watch, and that becomes very easy, so they choose the easier one. And without realizing it, one replaces the other, like without realizing that the online world is replacing your real life. It has already been replaced because you choose it, and there was no one to actually like told the girls that it's not good. They should have already the parents should have hired some kind of psychologists and some kind of people that can actually help most of the phone addictions and all. Like, they should have hired something like before the incident is happened, because like threatening and doing in our own way, the Indian parents always do like that, right? They just scold their children and all, but it's not the professional way, right? So the professionals, it works till a level where it is like mid or it is like not very serious condition, but in this case it is very serious condition. They were just isolated, and they were just, the whole world is their phone, so just taking away the phone doesn't really solve the problem. So they should have seek the professionals' help. That's what I think, I guess. And then when one thing is suddenly reduced or removed, it doesn't feel like discipline. Like, it doesn't feel like discipline. It feels like something has been taken away. Like, their role has been taken away, and the family and your father becomes your enemy because he took away your role. And something important, it feels like something has been taken away, and something important, and if there's no strong connection to anything else, the moment can feel very overwhelming. Like, you in this world, you are very young age, and you are just depending on your phone only, and the phone has been taken away, and at the time you don't know what to do, because you actually didn't even learn how to talk to people, how to go outside, how to have friends and play with the friends. What you know was that you have, like, you are just watching your phone and you are just playing with your phone. That's the only thing your life and that's your comfort zone. And when it takes away, you have nothing to do, and you are just sitting, and it can feel very overwhelming and very emotional and very, it can feel like the end of the world, honestly. And now I want to talk to you directly for a second, because this is not just about them. This is something many people experience in different ways, spending hours online, feeling more comfortable there than in real life, and maybe not even realizing how much it's affecting you. And if you're watching this, especially from places like Manipur, from Northeast India, that's watching too much, like K-pop and Korean culture, or maybe from any place of the world, that let's leave Korean, because it can be any entertainment source, right? It can be any drama from Netflix, any shows, and any games or anything that is you totally depend on it and you were lost. Like real life is no longer existent in your world, and you just want your phone to be with you, and you just feel like it's your comfort zone. So you already know what I'm talking about, right? And let's say, like, for example, K-dramas, K-pop, late night scrolling, headphones on, world off, and slowly real life becomes something you avoid. And this is where we need to be very careful not to blame a culture, or not to blame a source, not to blame any like games or anything, but to understand the balance. Because the problem is never just one thing. It's when everything starts replacing real life completely. So in the end, the story is not just about three sisters. It's about something much bigger. It's about how easy it is to slowly disconnect it without even realizing it. And the question is not, is this content dangerous? The real question is, are we losing balance without noticing it? So like if you're very connected to something, like some shows, we were always connected, like let's say you are watching some one of your favorite Netflix shows, like series, and it just ended, you feel like end of the world. You don't want to come out from that situation, from the delulu, and you just want to be wait for the next season and next episode, and right, and we just end up watching the whole season in one night. So that happens. But after some hour we were like, okay, it's done, and we have to wait for the next season. It can take like almost a season or almost a year like this, so we have to continue with our real life. That's normal case. But if you are connected to the content endlessly, like you want it right now and you cannot live without it, there's something going on. Like your real life world is losing it, it's breaking down, and you just want to stick to the the digital world. And it should not be like that. It should be balanced. Like you should not completely you should not be completely focused or dependent on the digital world, because sometimes it's very scary. Because let's say you lost your phone, and let's say your phone has some of the information that is you don't want to be, I don't want to know about it, and it becomes your sources of life and your happiness. And when it's lost, you feel like the end of the world, like my life is going to be end. So that's the case, and it's very scary, and it's not normal. So you should, if you are very addicted to your phone, like let's say you are we were 24 hours with our phones, but we are not using it, right? It just stay by our side when we were sleeping, and we were just going to washroom. We just take it just for notifications, just for messages, so that we didn't lose any updates or messages from our office and all. So that's normal. But if you're taking it everywhere, like while you're brushing, while you're watching while you're eating, and if you're taking it everywhere, and if you're completely dependent on it, it's not normal. Please try to be balance the things, so that you have your loved ones, your friends, and also try to be connected with them also, and try to live in this real life, and try to balance the things. So we were in a digital world right now, it's all digitalized, right? But it should not be your whole life. It should be it's not be all digital. You can be in a very cool real life mode, and you can be balanced all the things. So balance is the most important thing in our life. So anything, if you feel okay, this is going out of my hand, and if you can't control it, please seek professional help. And always be very careful, and if you feel like someone of your known or loved ones is going through the same situation, please help them. They didn't know that they were doing this, they were just doing it. They feel like maybe if they were teenagers, they don't even know that this is right or wrong for them. They don't, it feels like it feels right, but it is actually wrong. If you're an adult and if you can see those people around you that were just replacing their real life with digital life, please help them, and please like stay connected with your loved ones, and please be very like safe and like okay. So this is the end of our today's episode, and I'll see you in the next one. So till then, bye bye. And for little request, please subscribe to our channel. It's a very new one, so like I'll be seeing you in the next one. So if I like if I said something that is not right or something wrong in this whole episode, please try to forgive me, because I'm not even an expert. I'm also just trying to advocate a little bit about the situation, and try to like give some information, some good information, and try to spread the importance and some good things in the world. So please support us, and so yeah, let's meet in the next video. Till then, bye bye.